Hello and one and all, welcome back to my Bond film series, and I hope you guys are enjoying this film series. We've got past the Sean Connery area and the George Lazenby area, which is only one film. So 5 Connery, 1 Lazenby and 1 Connery. And now we get to the Roger Moore area, and excuse me guys if there's this noise going on. There's some sort of life going on around me, and there's some video I'll talk to you guys about this in an updated video at some point. But for now, let's all forget about that and focus on the Bond reviews. And my next Bond review I shall be reviewing this month, which is going to be the first Roger Moore Bond film, and that is Live and Let Die, released in 1973, and it's actually the second Bond book, if I'm correct, by Ian Fleming, even though it's just the movies I'm talking about. First time it stars Roger Moore as James Bond 007. It stars Jane Seymour as Solitaire. Then you have some villains like Mr. Big, Mr. Kananga, and Tee-Hee, the henchman. And this is a blaxploitation sort of adventure, because there's, black people in this film, and yeah, and like with all my Bond reviews, this is going to contain spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen it, check it out first, or if you don't care, then welcome anyways, you have been warned. So guys, Live and Let Die starts off with our first Roger Moore gun barrel sequence. And it's really good because it's our first gun barrel sequence to feature Bond with no hat, because Bob Simmons, Sean Connery and George Lazenby contained hats, and this Roger Moore gun barrel sequence doesn't. Well, none of them do. Does that pose very quick? I just love how he does that, it's really cool, and I love how the blood drips down and everything. Then you get that really cool music, which opens the shot of New York. Dun, 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 dun. I just love that music so much, and especially with Your Eyes Only, which we'll get into when we get to that. But hey, then you see these a couple of British agents getting killed. One of them in particular gets noised by this sonic noise going on. Then you see this funeral going on, and then they sort of have a funeral disco, even though it's not really dark and everything, it's just on a street. Dun 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 dun. That's what happens at the funeral after the sadness goes on. And then we get to our brilliant title sequence and song by Paul McCartney and Wings. Live and Let Die. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, that is by far one of the best Bond theme songs of the series, by far. It is just so good. Dun 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 dun. Then we open up on Bond and everything, and I will say this isn't the best introduction we've got for Bond. It's nowhere near as good as Sean Connery's introduction in Dr. No, but I will say though, he does a very good Bond, James Bond, which we'll get into in a minute. And Bond wears this really cool jacket and everything whenever he's in the airport and everything. He's getting a taxi and starts meeting Solitaire and everything. Miss Solitaire, my name's Bond, James Bond. Now, Roger Moore wanted to not copy, Sean Connery, because Sean Connery was like very suave and everything, a ladies' man, while Roger Moore was sort of the gentleman of the Bond, a gentleman of the Bonds, and the comediness, campiness, sort of like the Austin Powers and everything, even though this is before Austin Powers. Now, some people complain Roger Moore gets a bit very cheesy. It gets very cheesy when Roger Moore smiles. My name's Bond. James Bond. And yes, but that's really what these movies are. Basically, you know, especially in the next one where he gets really old as Bond, which we'll get into when we get to those movies. But it's a great Bond, James Bond, nonetheless. That's just really what the Roger Moore area is. And later on, you get to see what is quite possibly one of the most annoying Bond girls in the series. Hold on a minute. Who is she called? Yes, Rosie Carver. Rosie Carver, that's it. You know, she's just screaming at the dead snake and everything, at the feather hat. And later on she gets killed, thankfully, because she's not the main focus of the movie. Which is for a good reason. And then you sort of get introduced to Tee-Hee, who wrecks Bond's gun with this sort of claw thing. And I will say, though, he's a pretty over-the-top, but he's a great henchman nonetheless. Nowhere near as good as, like, Jaws or Oddjob. But he's cool nonetheless. Now, Mr. Big gets revealed where he sort of wears this mask, and it's Mr. Kamanga. Kamanga, whoever he's called, who is the villain of this movie. And he's a pretty good villain, not the best, but you know. And then later, one of the best moments of the film is when Bond is driving this bus and everything, and then the roof comes off and everything, and then these police cops are chasing after him. I don't know if it's cops, what the Americans call it, but these police cars are chasing the bus anyway. And then Bond gets captured by Tee-Hee and gets trapped on this island surrounded by crocodiles or alligators, whatever you want to call them. Well, it depends really where they're from, really. But I'm more of a crocodile person, because they do look like crocodiles because of their long, you know, snapping. You know, basically Bond has to try and feed not penguins, crocodiles. Jesus. Anyways, starts feeding the crocodiles. Then they all start getting close, and Bond sees them, jumps on the crocodiles' backs. That scene gets to me every time, and I love that so much. Dun 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 dun. And then it leads on to this great boat chase scene, which is great. You know, it goes through certain places like a wedding and everything, which is not the main focus, but the boat chase nonetheless is great, even though we do get another annoying character, Sheriff Pepper, which we'll mention in The Man with the Golden Gun whenever we get to it, which is the next Bond review. Thankfully, he's not in the movie much, though. He's just... what the... And then the boat, like, goes over and everything. It's great stunt work and everything. And then, you know, Bond starts ending up with a fight with Mr. Kamanga. Is that Mr. Big, the villain? Yeah. Whoever you want to call him, that's fine. Oh, and I forgot, Solitaire is one of the best looking Bond girls in the series. She's just great. Definitely one of my favourites in the 70s era of Bond. Just such a gorgeous looking Bond girl. And then you get this fight scene at the end, you know, where Bond tries to keep Mr. Big under the water, and we get probably the dumbest death scene where he flies up in the air and explodes. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, that's just like a balloon or something. Like, where's the blood or something? Like how can whatever Bond put in Kamanga's mouth Like, what were they thinking? No, like, I still think this is a very great Bond film, nonetheless, despite a few wee problems. But it's a pretty dumb death, nonetheless. And then, you know, like, and then they get on the train and everything, and Tee-hee is there. And, you know, they start getting in a fight. You know, his claw gets trapped on the window, starts throwing Tee-hee out and everything. And then you get the creepy guy who I don't know his name. Someone let me know who he's called. I'm just gonna... Oh, Boren, that's probably his name. You know, that creepy guy who appears up, gets fallen into the snakes and everything. And he's at the front of the train. Ha 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 ha. So let's get to the positives and negatives. Roger Moore is a great start despite the very big introduction after the incredible song. You know, it's nothing really too special, to be honest. But his Bond, James Bond, that he says to Solitaire is great. Solitaire is one of the great Bond girls, I've said. Tee-hee is a good henchman. The great scenes like the crocodile scene, the bus scene, the boat scene. The fight scene's pretty good. You know, this is a very fun Bond film, and I like how some certain scenes of the Live and Let Die Son song are in certain scenes, which is actually really good, actually. I mean, because, you know, it's a very fun song to listen to. Like, whenever someone can think of a Bond song, they're like, say, Live and Let Die, like, straight away. Now let's get to some negatives. Rosie Carver is an annoying character, and so is Sheriff Pepper, who's also an annoying character. And then the ridiculous death scene with Kamanga exploding. Like, who expected that? But overall, guys, I still really enjoy Live and Let Die, none of the less. And Boren's a pretty good character, I guess. I mean, despite what he shows at the end. But I still enjoy Live and Let Die for the most part. It's definitely one of Roger Moore's best. And, you know, it's very fun. It's got great moments, like the bus scene and the boat scene. And Guy Hamilton's second best directed Bond film, in my opinion. So on my rating scale, I'm going to give Live and Let Die an 8 out of 10. Good time. Alrighty guys, that was my review on Live and Let Die. So guys, comment down below, let me know below what your thoughts on Live and Let Die are. Do you love it? Do you think it's overrated? Because it is a divisive Bond film. Still, because, you know, the campiness of Roger Moore, which I know some people aren't a fan of. Well, I'm not too of, but this one isn't the campiest. There are some dark moments. Well, not dark moments like, you know, the crocodile thing and all that, but you know what I mean. But let me know below what you all thought, how you rank it with the Bond films, with Roger Moore's Bond films. Where do you rank it with Roger Moore's Bond films? Let me know below. And stay tuned next month, guys, because I have my next 2 Bond reviews, which are going to be next month, which are going to be The Man with the Golden Gun and The Spy Who Loved Me. Look forward to those, guys, and I hope you enjoy my Bond series, like I've said. As always, guys, please comment, like, subscribe, and click the notification bell before you leave. Don't forget to do all of those, guys, and as always, until my next video, I will see you guys then, and peace.